What's going on, guys? Bengal King here, coming back at you with another video. Today back on Madden NFL 20 franchise mode, and you guys have been killing it with the support lately. I've been getting a ton of followers on Twitch where I stream, on Twitter for more NFL content, Instagram too. All the links are down in the description. You guys have been killing it on Patreon as well for those who want to go above and beyond. But let me tell you something. You guys notice all the time. You notice how well I usually draft, and you want the tips and the tricks. Some of you already know them from watching, rebuild after rebuild. And you know who the good players are to look for. But some of you are new to the game, and you want to know, hey, how do I know if a player is going to be good? How do I get the best possible player on my team? And hopefully today, or at least the goal, is to help you fully understand how to do that. Some tricks and tips to look for. I didn't like the order that I said that. But there's no guaranteed way to draft a superstar development player, but there definitely are some ways that can help you or increase your chances. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the players and some of the ways that you can help yourself out and draft some superstar, maybe some superstar X-Factor caliber players. So, of course, if you guys are new to the game, you cannot scout any player prior to, I believe, week 3. Could be week 4 that it pops up. Believe it's week 3. So if you're looking for scouting in your things to do, it's not going to show up until at least week 3. I believe it's week 3. We'll find out in a second. But definitely a trick I can give you guys straight out of the gate is if you go to your league, you check out the news area, there's going to be some stories usually that pop up here. And again, it's usually about week 3 that these will pop up. Sometimes it's earlier, but usually week 3 or beyond. And they're going to give you basically like the inside info about who's going to be sick or whatnot, who's going to have superstar development. So there are a number of different ones that will pop up as week 3 scouting does appear. Like this guy's dad used to be fantastic, and now he's following in his footsteps. Or this former Olympic athlete is now taking the college field or whatever. So as you can see here, these are a few of these that follow along the track. So a lot of the time, at least in previous years, for sure, these would be guaranteed superstar development players. Now, this year they've changed that up a little bit. I would say more likely than not, they're going to be star development plus star, superstar, or superstar X Factor. And these are some of the ones that you'll see. So, black belt in football. Darren Shepard is hoping his skills as a martial art star translates to the football field as he's joined the Alabama squad at halfback. Yeah, just a random martial artist. And he just walks on to Alabama to be their halfback. And of course, football through the generations, the history of football is steeped in the exploits of the Fort family. The latest chapter is being written at South Carolina by right outside linebacker Tracy Fort. Now, again, in the past at least, those were almost guaranteed to be superstar development players. And there are a number of different routes you can go for this right here. I would recommend auto-generating the rookies. It changes up every time. It's random. You could get a great draft. It could be less than great. If you want to use real prospects, I would highly recommend going to the Madden share and downloading My Class. It's one of the most downloaded at this moment. Certainly the most liked. 36 likes to only 1 dislike. The top draft is horrific, but a lot of people are downloading 2020 NFL Draft Bengal, which is mine. You can search the PSN Gene Dangus if you want actual players. There are about 140 plus real college prospects, but as you can see, this is randomly generated. There is no Van Cleveland from Alabama, but we can check out those players like Darren Shepard that were highly touted in the news section. We can check out right outside linebacker as well, where we can see Tracy Fort from South Carolina, who looks incredible. These guys likely will have very, very good development, but they are near the very top of the draft. So if you're picking low, and actually the right outside linebacker Tracy Fort's a little bit lower, but if you're picking near the top end of the draft, you're paying for what you get, or you're getting what you pay for, excuse me. You're paying for superstar development. You're paying for superstar X Factor development, and that's where a lot of these players are going to be. Rarely they'll be lower in the draft, but extremely rarely from what I've seen so far will you ever find a superstar X Factor development player outside the first round. Very, very rare. I have yet to see it. But if you're playing every game of the franchise, there are certain stats that you want to look for each position that are going to matter more. So the first big one that I would look for is throw power. Now, there are different types of players that are going to have throw power very, very high, and you don't want to be fooled by that. Jeff Ziegler is a great example. He's a strong arm quarterback. It pays to pay attention to what type of a player they are, and you can see by their archetype, he is a strong arm. Yet his accuracy is very, very poor. So even though he's got a cannon, he's not very well-rounded. I wouldn't really worry about that too much. I would say throw power is good A minus or above is going to be about where you'd like to be. I would say A or better is going to be fantastic. And then you're looking for throw accuracy. The ones that'll pop up the most often are throw accuracy short. A minus or higher is usually going to be a very good quarterback. And then their third one could be throw accuracy medium, could even be throw accuracy deep. If you have A's across the board, they're going to be a stud. For Van Cleveland, he has pretty much A's across the board. I would say he's going to be an extremely high overall prospect. I would definitely consider drafting him. When you get into like the A, B plus range for some of those stats, they get a little bit worse, but they're still a formidable player. Kai Presley doesn't have the throw accuracy mid, so even though he kind of checks off the first two boxes, probably wouldn't recommend going after him just because he's not well-rounded across the board. And now Brendan Merritt is a very good example of what I'm talking about for guys that start to get a little bit worse to where there is a drop-off from incredibly elite like Van Cleveland appears to be to Brandon Merritt from Boise State, where he's got the throw power, he's got the throw accuracy short, just he's a little bit worse in terms of throw accuracy mid. So these two players, Cleveland and Merritt, are very comparable, but obviously Cleveland's going to be a little bit better with a slightly better throw accuracy mid. But if you don't want to take a quarterback that high, you'll say we wait to the second round. Merritt is fairly comparable, but when you're looking at quarterbacks, throw power, throw accuracy short, throw accuracy mid, you'd like them all to be A or higher if possible, but A minus is pretty solid, and you could definitely get behind drafting one of those players. Now, I saw something interesting with quarterback before we moved to running back. Crocker had A throw accuracy short, which as you can see is the best throw accuracy of any quarterback. He is a field general type, which generally will be the best, no pun intended by the way, general, but generally will be the best type of quarterback because they're the most well-rounded. But if he has A throw power and throw accuracy mid, he could be really, really good. But as you can see, throw power and throw accuracy mid kind of fall off a little bit of a cliff there. But Van Cleveland's going to be elite. Brendan Merritt, not bad either. At running back, you're going to be looking for a couple different things depending on what the style of player is. I would generally recommend only going after elusive backs and power backs. Receiving backs can be good, but they're, in general, going to be weighted really heavily towards catching the football, which you could want, but when I'm drafting a running back, I want someone that's going to be able to run the football as their most elite trait. And for an elusive back, you'll see a number of different things. Ball carrier vision, juke move, occasionally spin, and carrying. Shepard isn't bad. Don't get me wrong. But the grades are not related to the actual grades of all the ratings. So A minus ball carrier vision is not necessarily going to be equal to around 90 in that stat for ball carrier vision. It's going to be compared to the rest of the players in the class. So I would not be fooled and say, hey, he's going to have 90 ball carrier vision, 90 juke move, and 88 carrying. It just simply won't be the case all the time. Renell Benson has a very high carrying and ball carrier vision, also has high break tackle. Break tackle is one that you're going to see a lot for power backs, occasionally elusive backs as well. You will see trucking for some of these power backs, as maybe Randy Westerman can illustrate. He has stiff arm. In general, I would stay away from the players on offense, quarterback, wide receiver, that delve anywhere into the B range with your first pick. They're going to be okay, but in general, not that great. You really want the guys that are A's across the board. A minus is fine too. B plus as their third stat can be good depending on what it is. I would probably lead towards Renell Benson in terms of how good he is with carrying and ball carrier vision being very high. And break tackle, it's a more valuable stat. It just depends on what style of running back you want. Halfback's an important one where you have to wait until the offseason to see they do at the combine because speed is going to be extremely important. We'll update you guys just before the draft to see where you want to be in terms of combine, but generally 4.5 speed and below is going to be a pretty quick player for an elusive back, and then I really wouldn't go past 4.53 for a power back. You got to look for these speed guys because speed kills. It also does help to see the grade that pops up with the certain player. So Mike Redman is a really interesting case where they deem him to be a first-round player. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that or take him there. The reason that he's so intriguing is because he's a receiving back, but he does have high ball carrier vision and carrying and elusiveness, and you know he's going to have high catching because his type is receiving back. So I would definitely take a flyer on him in the third round because you could be getting a very, very well-rounded player, even if he's not going to be an elite runner. Definitely worth the pick there in the third round. For wide receivers, it's pretty much going to be incredibly varying from position to position, from archetype to archetype. So physical, you're looking at high spectacular catch. you're looking at high catching and maybe high catch in traffic. You're not going to see route running pop up a whole ton. For the route running guys, you want to see elite route running. I'm talking A+, medium route running or short route running or deep route running. You want to see high route running to warrant taking these guys. And again, speed's going to matter a whole ton. You got to wait for the offseason to see how they run at the combine. The rest really doesn't matter too much. But Nazir Dumas looks all right. High release and high spectacular catch is fantastic. High catch in traffic. Again, usually you're looking at A- or above for these players. But for receiver, a lot of the time, when they're not incredible best player in the draft, they're going to be A-, A-, B+. And those are the guys you want to look for. George Carey is pretty solid as well. A medium route running could be very, very high. Good short route running, good catching as well. We didn't see the catching for Dumas. It could be B+. It also could be a B, maybe even a C+. Sergio Potter's terrible. Very, very rarely do I want to see B+, B-, B-, especially on medium route running, then short route running, then spectacular catch. Spectacular catch is going to be bad. You don't know about his catching. You don't know about his catching in traffic. Really could not recommend taking some of these players. Some of the guys that are deep threats, they're going to be very, very fast. You already know that even before the combine. So B+ release, B+ spec catch, and B route running or deep is really, really good because he's going to be fast already. He doesn't need to be the most technically sound. So he's solid already. For a slot guy, it's going to come down to route running, catching, and traffic. So he's got decent route running, but he kind of falls off down the board. Really wouldn't suggest taking him. Clifford Brown out of Kansas State. He's good. B+ across the board is good, especially for a 6'5" deep threat. You know he's going to be fast. These archetypes all can tell you about their athleticism. So George Carey might not be the fastest, but he's technically sound. Nazir Dumas might not be the fastest, but he's really strong, really big. And then Clifford Brown's a deep threat with incredible size, some good skills as well, B+ across the board. He might be worth a draft pick in the second round for sure. For tight end, it doesn't take too much time to tell you about this. I like guys who are fast. You're going to see some blocking in here occasionally. I would stay away from those guys. Tight ends appear to be really, really good in the draft this year. You're going to want spectacular catch, catching traffic, and catching. Basically similar to what you're looking for at wide receiver. And Akeem Burst is incredible. You're very rarely going to see stats in the A's here. So B+ to a B is great across the board. Same thing for JoJo Freeman. B+, B- is not terrible as long as he keeps a B-, but Akeem Burst appears to be really, really good. And he's a vertical threat, so he'll have some speed. Offensive line is pretty much the same across the board. You're going to see different types of blocking. Generally, stats, again, in the A's and beyond are going to be players you can draft. You're going to find a lot of value down the board with offensive linemen, so don't want anything C+. B+ isn't terrible as long as you can keep it up. That's not bad for the 4th round, but you can find some real studs in these draft classes where they'll be in the 5th round, 4th round, 3rd round. It'll pop up as a 1st-round talent. I would very rarely recommend actually taking a player on the offensive line in the 1st round, just because the value can be so much better later, as we can see with Rob Katz from LSU, pops up as a 2nd-round talent, and he will be. B+ lead block, B+ pass block, and B run block finesse. Really, really solid, especially for a 6th-rounder. I would generally say wait on offensive line. You're going to find the value later. And again, B+ all the way or higher is what you want to look for. This is kind of a weak left tackle class in general, but these are some decent players. And the biggest thing for me here is you have to wait for the combine report and see their bench press. You want guys who are benching at least 30 to 35 reps of 225. It can vary, so center is going to be less stronger, but left tackle, left guard, you want guys who are 35 plus, and then center you can get away with 30 bench press reps. I will show you in the offseason. Just kind of want to get through this first. And then we'll talk about the players that I think are really good in this class. Left guard, we can look around. Again, B+ are mainly what you're looking for, but you can get away with some B+ and then B's across the board. Josh Jackson in the 4th is great. B's across the board's pretty good. Javonte, okay. Javonte Bell doesn't exactly fit the bill there, but B's across the board would be great. Wilkinson doesn't either. Dallas Watt, B+ across the board. I would recommend taking a flyer on him in the 2nd, depending on what his strength is. It says 3rd round. He looks a lot better than that. I really wouldn't trust that sometimes. Sometimes you got to trust it. Other times, I really wouldn't worry about it. We finally get some A guys. Grayson Thomas is really good. A-, B+, B+ is going to be fantastic. You're looking at pass block, run block, impact block, lead block. Those are the ones. Sometimes you'll see finesse and power pretty high. Those are kind of good too. They can be. Grayson Thomas looks like the best offensive line when we scouted, and it just depends on his actual ability. Chris Sierra is not bad, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend taking him in the second round. B pluses here, looks solid to a B. If we see a B here, he's going to be decent, and he is. And then Fusaro, not quite as good. But Edward Spade in the fifth, not bad. He's got B plus, and then lead block, impact block in there as well. Not terrible. Wouldn't worry about these guys. First stat B, it can only go down from there, so wouldn't worry about him. But in the seventh round, could be worth a draft pick, although he ends up not being. I think a big friend of yours is follow the draft grade that's given to them. And it does change after the draft. So you'll see second round. That might even go as high as the third or fourth. But you won't see second round when you're in the actual draft. So remember to write some of these great guys down. I think that's a great tip. Because you don't want to forget these guys. You don't want them to get lost. And adding them to your draft board sometimes just isn't good enough. B pluses across the board is incredible. Sean Henley in the fourth. Fantastic value. That's what you want to look for. B plus or higher across the board. And they'll be a very good player. 99% of the time. We saw Dallas Watt B plus across the board in the second. That's his third round talent. I'm just not buying that. He's got to be incredibly slow or something to be worth a third. I imagine he'll be a lot better than his draft grade. Some really good right guards here late. Draft grade usually is pretty good. Sometimes it's screwy, but Barry Holly, B plus, B. B minus is not great, but again, these are fourth round guys, so you can kind of get away with it, especially when they have a higher actual grade. Parker Saunders is now the best player in the class. A minus impact block is quite high. A minus pass block is going to be great. B plus lead block. Really, really solid player. If anyone's worth taking in the first round, it would be him at tackle. But B plus, B plus. Sean Carr looks like he's going to be really, really good as well. And a seventh round player. Definitely worth a pick. I'll show you guys what his last stat is. And then we'll go ahead and move on over to the defensive side of the ball. B plus again. So Sean Carr is fantastic. Definitely worth a seventh round pick if he's available, or a sixth round pick, or a fifth. Really, really good. B pluses across the board is definitely what you're looking for. Wheeler's not terrible either, but there are better options. I think Sean Carr is a better player than Taj Wheeler because he does things better. If you want a pass blocker, maybe Taj Wheeler's your guy, but a run blocker, Sean Carr's got great lead block, run block, and impact block. All run blocking stats there, so we definitely recommend taking a look at him. At left end, you're going to find two types of players, really. There are a few different archetypes, speed rusher, power rusher, run stopper. But really, power rusher and speed rusher is going to be two different things. In terms of one's going to be a finesse pass rusher, one's going to have power moves. That's really the only difference. They're 4-3 defensive ends. A run stopper is always going to be a 3-4 defensive end. They're going to be built a little bit bigger. As you can see, Reverend is 286, but Lily's only 242. However, all these run stoppers are generally going to be 300 plus. Some of the power rushers get up there as well. Speed rushers are almost always going to be 260 or below. I mean, you'll find some players that counteract that. He's 254, but generally that's what you're going to find. So when I'm scouting these players, I'm looking at finesse move. I want that to be high. I'm looking at A minus or above. I'm looking at power move. A minus or above, but it does not have to be both, and usually it will not be. If it is, you're looking at an absolute stud. You're looking at block shed to pop up occasionally, pursuit, sometimes hit power will. I don't really care about hit power. I want the other ones a lot more. But Daniel Lilly, A minus finesse moves. We knew that would pop up. So block shed here, B plus block shed would be really solid. And then maybe a B plus tackle. You're looking at a really good player. B plus pursuit, B plus awareness. Awareness is a stat that inflates their overall quite a bit. Awareness and play rec inflates overall. So if you're looking to draft a high overall player, Daniel Lilly's going to be it. Although he might not be the best in terms of total moves. So if you're playing with him, might not be worth a pick there, although he is solid. Now, Reverend, I'm pretty much out on. B tackle. What's the best I can get here? He's a power rusher, maybe B power moves, and then B block shed. Yeah, just pretty terrible. You're looking at A minus or above, and then A minus to B plus is solid. Obviously, everything in the A's is incredible. B plus pursuit is not a bad start for a guy in the third. B plus tackle is a run stopper, not bad. I want to see B or B plus block shed here, and I would definitely warrant selecting this guy in the third. I see B block shed, good player. Nugent hit power, finesse moves. He's going to be bad, but we'll scout him. B minus pursuit. Really don't like him. Shows second round, but you're not getting a whole lot of value there. Not a great pass rusher. Doesn't have great pursuit at B minus. He hits hard as his best trait, but he's a defensive end. Doesn't really matter that much. B pursuit, not that great. Hit power, it can fool you. He's not bad, though, because he has good power moves and good pursuit as a fourth round player. And there is a big difference from B- to B. So I would definitely try and remember that. B's across the board is generally okay. It just depends on position. You're looking at B+ or higher in almost every scenario, and you want finesse move, power move. Don't really see too many good power move rushers in this class. And then pursuit, block shed, and again, awareness inflates overall. So I think the best bang for your buck is probably DeMarcus Hughes. It just depends on your defense. You don't want to take one of these guys in a 4-3. They're not going to fit. At defensive end, speed's another thing that can end up mattering, but we'll get to that in the offseason. It's the same thing for right ends. They're the different archetypes: power rusher, speed rusher, and run stopper. B pluses across the board are good. Will Cohen is not, so he's terrible. B pluses across the board would be good. He's not, so he's not great, but he's not terrible either. He's not a bad player just because he doesn't fit the first round. Just probably wouldn't take him in the first. Not a great class for defensive ends here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Not great. But these scale down as the rounds go. So you can warrant taking a player like Damon Royal in the 4th or the 6th or whatever. But if you saw a player like him up near the 2nd round, you got to pass. You're looking at B+ or higher for the top 3 to warrant taking them in the first. But Johnson's not terrible. Definitely warrants a 2nd round selection. B+, B+, and then B for play rec. Not terrible, but again, play rec's another stat that's going to inflate overall. It's going to make them look like they're better than they actually are in terms of true ability. When you go to linebacker, left outside linebacker, there are 2 types. Well, there are a few types, really, but you got outside linebackers in a 3-4. They're designed to get after the passer. You're looking at what you looked for in defensive ends for 4-3 guys. So speed rusher, power rusher. So it's still finesse move, power move, one of the 2. And if there's both, they're fantastic. Block shed, tackle is going to be in there. And for the outside linebackers, inside linebackers as well, you're looking at block shed, you're looking at a high tackle. You definitely want high tackle for a linebacker, high block shed. For the pass coverage guys, you'd love to see B or higher zone coverage. If you see man coverage, it's sometimes even better. We'll take a look at Bart Jackson. High pursuit is another one to go up with tackle and block shed. B awareness, B hit power. I'm not a huge fan of him. Hit power is cool for linebackers. It's not the end-all be-all. Says he's a first-round guy. You know he's going to have good coverage because of his pass coverage, but I'm not really blown away by Bart Jackson. Devron Mims, I'm looking at finesse move, power move, finesse move, or excuse me, pursuit, block shed, tackle. Not very good at all. Devion Falk, A- hit power is not bad because it still leads the way for A- finesse or power move. Going to be power move. And block shed. B+ pursuit, B+ tackle. Interesting player here. And you know he's a power rusher. So he's going to have decent power moves. Definitely not bad. Might consider taking him. B+ is across the board. Usually good. B+, B, B- is not bad for a later player. But overall, Falk is the most intriguing player because he's A-, B+, B+. And his other stats could be fantastic. Even though they're not my favorite, I would lean towards a player with higher known quantities of skills that you're going to want. So finesse move or power moves. Those are the most important thing for edge rush outside linebackers. It's the same thing for outside linebackers. We saw Tracy Fort. He looks great. Great finesse move, pursuit. Awareness is a bit of a booster, as I talked about earlier, but we know he's probably going to have really good development. It's usually a good idea to check development in the news as well, because sometimes they say, hey, this is the first defensive player to win the Heisman. He might be worth a draft pick. You can go to draft stories. Showcase for Von Buckley this week is he kept Nazir Dumas from having any impact at all. So that could mean normal development for Nazir Dumas, the wide receiver. And Von Buckley could have at least star development is what that's going to be. Could be superstar, could be even superstar X Factor. Matt Miller also talking up Von Buckley as his #1 ranked DB. I would definitely look into Von Buckley, who we'll get to in just a minute after we get through linebackers. But that has all the signs pointing to him being a very, very good defensive back with high development. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to scout him. Pretty good. So back to linebackers. For inside linebackers, it changes a little bit. You're still looking for pursuit, tackle, block shed. Hit power can be up there as well. That's fine. Sometimes zone coverage, depending on if they're a pass coverage style player or not. But in general, you're looking at tackle, pursuit, sometimes hit power, block shed can be in there as well. And you'd like A-, A- would be ideal. Montre Clark pretty much fits the bill. Looks like a really, really good player. And of course, Hook'em Horns, Texas. But He looks solid. Looking for the same from Duke McFarland. Interesting. Okay. So we talked about play rec. He's going to be a really high overall. He's got great tackle. His play rec is among the best that you're ever going to find in the draft. His overall is going to be juiced. Good hit power as well. But I would lean towards Montre Clark as an overall playmaker. He's taller too. Speed does matter at this position a lot. You want guys that are 4.7 speed and below in your elite prospects, but we'll get to that. Pass coverage. B zone coverage is really good. B plus across the board for a pass coverage. Another Texas linebacker here, Morris Tart. Wow. So he's got decent hit power, high awareness, high pursuit. He's going to have high pass coverage. This is a really, really good linebacker class. And then Del Campbell in the third has A- tackle. Not something you see every day. Levi Stokes, A- pursuit. That could even lead into high tackling, high block shed, high awareness. Very, very interesting. This class is stacked. One of the better ones that I've seen. Levi Stokes, high hit power and high tackle. Stokes is really, really good as well. He's from a smaller school. Sometimes means increased development. But this is a stacked class. Generally wouldn't scout guys who have B tackle to start off or B anything or B- anything. B pluses in the 5th round are great. Oliver Hicks, not terrible value there. B plus pursuit, B tackle, B hit power. For a Kirkland favorite, could be your favorite player. B pluses across the board. Are you kidding me? In the 5th round for these guys, this inside linebacker class is incredible. And usually that's one of the weaker positions. Really, really interesting. But as you guys can see, most of these guys are trash. You don't want to be scouting guys where it starts with a B. You just don't. At least not in the top rounds. Moving on to cornerbacks. A lot of variation here. Speed matters a lot. That's the bottom line. Speed matters a ton. So you want to wait for the combine to come out. You do want to scout these guys. Their attributes matter too. Don't get me wrong. You can find a bunch of different styles of players. Slot, zone, man-to-man. And that, I believe, is it. Yeah. What you're looking for here, depending on what scheme you run, a lot of you guys are going to run zone more often than not, so I would lean towards zone players. Although your man-to-man players, in general, will be your higher overall. The slot is going to be the combination of everything, so they're going to have higher press along with the coverage. What you'll see a lot here is man coverage, zone coverage, press. Those are usually the top 3. Other ones slip in there. Awareness, play rec, catching even gets in there. Very rarely you'll see block shed. Let's go ahead and check some guys out so you guys can see. Already, I'm not a huge fan of him. Okay, so he brought it back. I thought he'd be a lot worse, but B's across the board is not bad for a cornerback. Play rec's going to boost his overall, but B-man and B-zone is not something you see very often. So Deshaun Levine looks solid. B-plus press for his zone guy is good because he's a zone-style player, so you know zone's going to be high. B awareness, and then B zone coverage. Very, very well-rounded, very good. I like Bernie Grissom quite a bit. Ladarius Poyer, you can see his styles man-to-man. So man is always going to be high. There are going to be some guys that fool you in like the, let's say, 4th round. We're going to see high man to start it off. C plus isn't awful, although I wouldn't recommend taking him. But some of these guys will fool you with higher man, like B minus isn't that bad, but then they're going to have garbage for the rest of the stats. Really, really bad. Later round cornerbacks in general, horrific. Wouldn't really recommend taking them. If you're going to take a cornerback, I would take one higher. Poyer, C plus, I'm out. Lester Bradshaw, B minus, I'm pretty much out. He's going to have decent man maybe because he's man-to-man style, but not very good. C man to start, I'm out. C plus, I'm out. B minus for his own guy, I'm pretty much out because the rest of his stats will not be good. C plus play rec's not terrible, but again, really couldn't recommend taking that because it is going to boost their overall quite a bit. Bernie Grissom is by far the best player in this class, in my opinion, at cornerback. Overall, a really, really weak cornerback class. Yeah, these C pluses to start are just not good. However, in the 3rd, B to start is good. C plus for man-to-man. Could be worse. C catching hops in there. You'd probably like to see zone coverage instead. But overall, not bad for the 3rd. Again, it's going to be tough to find good value down here. Kendall Cheeks is Cheeks. Some of these players are just so bad. Yeah, the late round cornerbacks, maybe take a flyer on an okay player because he's a freak athlete, but athleticism does matter, but these guys are really, really bad. So after the season's over, the next time you can see out players is in the Super Bowl. Can't see it in any of the other rounds, so I wouldn't bother. It's not going to pop up, not even in the Pro Bowl. Here we go. We're going to go back to cornerbacks. I want to see if there are any redeeming players near the bottom of the board. I know that there aren't from experience. There just never are. So you're wasting your points down here almost always. Baskerville isn't horrific because he's a 6th-round player with high play rec. Okay, man. I really couldn't recommend taking a player like him. But moving to free safety and strong safety, it's going to depend. Run support, you're looking at high block shed, high tackle, high hit power. You have great stats across the board. They're going to be a really good run support, like a Landon Collins type player. For the zone guys, you're going to see you want high zone coverage, and then high pursuit's going to be in there as well for some of these guys. High catching sometimes going to sneak in. Play rec awareness sneaks in. For the hybrid guys, you're going to see man and zone coverage. And Von Buckley, who we looked at already, looks incredible. High hit power, high pursuit, high awareness, and he also is going to have high zone due to his zone style. Looks amazing. Dylan Leonard, I'm already out on. B- hit power is his first stat, isn't good. And then moving over to C+ awareness, C+ zone. It says he's a first-round guy. I don't know how much I value that. He doesn't really have any good stats. So they're okay. Just really couldn't recommend taking him very high. He's not going to be a stud. Could be okay. Maybe he's a high 60, low 70 overall at best. Also, no scouting in the first couple weeks of free agency, but we will find it again in free agency 2. B hit power, B pursuit, not terrible. B-, could be worse, but B+, B, and then B- hit power, not bad for Tevin Bethel. Could be a whole lot worse. Kirby Lindsey, not good. B+ pursuit's a good start for run support. Tackle is not awful. Hit power, not awful. Taylor Metcalf is good. We'll get to this in a second now that the scouting reports are here. You're looking for the same thing at strong safety. Just depends on the position you want. So you want a zone guy, Ronald Cruz. A- hit power is great because run support players in general have higher hit power. B+ awareness, great. Now, being a zone style, if he is anything other than zone here, that'd be sick. If he does have B zone, that'd also be fine. But B+ anything. B pursuit, all right. Very well-rounded player. Had a great combine as well. McDougal, high hit power, high pursuit. Decent enough zone coverage. And for a run support player, he's going to be really solid. Chris Hopkins, B hit power to start off isn't bad. B's across the board could be worse in the second. Hopkins isn't terrible by any means. Peyton, not terrible. At safety, B's across the board later is not bad. But again, you're looking basically for B+ or higher. Pretty good safety class overall. B+ pursuit. Good play rec, so his overall might be inflated. And then decent hit power. Not bad in the 6th by any means. And the last time you can scout is free agency 4. So the next is the draft, and then all these like kind of spoilers will go away. So he won't show up as a 3rd-round talent in the 5th anymore. It'll probably revert to 5, showing that number in the green thing, or maybe even a 4. The green thing is called it's a diamond, by the way. But for each position, now that we're back here, it matters a whole lot less for quarterback. Obviously, good speed is cool. 4.74 speed is fantastic. Van Cleveland's going to be unbelievable. He really is. Crocker, I don't really think he's that bad in the 4th. He's really slow, not an athlete, but he has decent throwing ability. Just nothing crazy. Overall, the only quarterback really worth taking is Van Cleveland. At halfback, I'm looking, I told you guys, 4.5 speed or below in general. 4.54 is forgivable, especially when they have a good 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. That tells you about their agility, about their elusiveness in general. So, really solid stuff there. The rankings always help. For a power back, good speed is always better. 4.5 speed. Bench press will tell you how strong he is, and he's in the top 5 in the class. Not terrible. Mike Redman. Usually receiving backs are slower, but he's got 4.47 speed. Not too shabby. 13th in the class, but 4.47 is not bad. So even though it looks like he's slow, if you're not familiar with the times, that's not bad. That's probably going to be at least 90 speed in some instances. Now, some players are ballers and they skip the combine. It's tough. You don't know about their athleticism really, other than their style. But Nazir Dumas, who we already determined probably doesn't have the best development, has a slow 40 time, great vert and broad jump, but he's already tall. Don't know that I would take him in the first now. I'd probably lean towards Clifford Brown, who we know is going to be able to fly. Deep threat with 4.64 speed. He does have deep route running, which is high. Not fantastic. He is 6'5". Could warrant taking him in the second round, maybe. Tight end, looking for guys that can fly. 4.62 is going to be able to fly. That's very fast. Great combine. Ranks in the top 5 at a lot of different positions. Top 3 as well. Basically, you're looking for 4.7 speed or better for some elite speed guys. Otherwise, it's not amazing. JoJo Freeman doesn't look bad. Great athlete. We know he can catch the football pretty well. Really, really good player. He dropped for some reason. Don't really know why that would be, but definitely worth a third-round pick. For tackles, you want that bench press up. Oh my God, Rob Katz is great. 39 reps. Speed doesn't really matter so much for an offensive tackle, but for guards, it does matter a bit more because they're going to be pulling. You'd like to see something near 5, maybe 5'1", but could be even below that. 5'05" is good. Decent number of bench press reps. We talked about 35 is good, but he's got good ability, so I would definitely recommend taking him. How'd Dallas Watt do? He's really fast. Not exactly the strongest. He's okay. He still has good skills, man. I think he's going to be okay. At center, Grayson Thomas. Not the strongest. Not the strongest at all. He's got good top skills. He's very fast and agile. Might be... He's going to be a decent player. Just strength is going to hold him back a lot, in my opinion. You'd like guys that put up 30 or more. And most of this class is not doing that at center. Grayson Thomas was what? 7th at 27? So not a whole lot of strong centers here, but Thomas is definitely the best one. Near 30 is pretty good for a center. Right guard, Sean Henley was one guy that we had scouted. Bench press reps above 30, not bad. Not the fastest, but again, I value skills almost more than anything. Although when you're looking at offensive linemen, bench press matters a lot. He's got 35 reps. That's elite. He's also going to be extremely agile with his 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. He's fast. Great athlete, good top 3 skills. Barry Holly is going to be really good. Alex Kush in the same exact boat. Very fast, very strong. I probably wouldn't take anyone up near the top, as I mentioned. Like, these 3 guys are sick. And the best technically sound one is Sean Henley. These other guys are great athletes. Really can't go wrong, in my opinion. Saunders, incredibly strong, great top 3 skills. He's going to be a beast. Sean Carr, who we talked about, not that strong. So he's got good top skills. Strength is really going to hold him back. Parker Saunders is elite. Daniel Lilly, we're looking at 4.8 and below speeds. That's pretty good for a power rush, or for a speed rusher, excuse me. For run stopper, these guys can be slow. They're there to eat blocks and shed. So I don't really mind seeing a 40 time above 5 here, as we do see 5.02. It's just top 3 skills. He's a run stopper. Think of him as a defensive tackle. Did I skip over D tackle? I did. That's crazy. Same thing as the 3-4 defensive ends. You're looking at block shed, tackle, pursuit. That's pretty much it. Play rec awareness can hop in there as well. I can't believe I skipped defensive tackle, but we're here now. So you'll see that as well. Awareness and play rec hops in there. But Damon Barkley's great. Pursuit, tackle, play rec all high. He's really, really strong as a run stopper. This is traditional nose almost. Ben Barclay. B+ finesse moves is really high. Mason Hankins is really good. High finesse move, high block shed, high tackle. B's across the board is not bad. B+ is across the board what you want. Occasionally you'll see some tackles, some D tackles with A- and A's. So those are definitely going to be your elite of the elite. But some really good players in here. B's across the board isn't bad. B- finesse moves, pretty good. For the linebackers, 4.8 speed as a pass rusher, not bad. We said that's fine. It's slow for a linebacker, but you might be playing him off the edge at defensive end. So think about how he relates to a speed rusher with 4.76 speed. He's got 4.8, not bad. For pass coverage, you want it to be higher. 4.75 is not slow. You'd like it to be a bit higher. You really would. Middle linebacker, though, we talked about how good these guys are. A- is across the board. Really, really good. If these guys are fast, you're going to be in business. Some of these guys are monsters. Absolute monsters late. You'd love to see 4.6 and below speed here if you can get it. 4.64 is great. Really, really good combine. Montre Clark's going to be a beast. But we talked about Morris Tardy is going to be good as well. 4.63 speed. First in the class, so it's not going to get higher than that, obviously. But you'd love to see 4.6 and below. It does pop up. Jalen Potts, 4.65. I generally wouldn't recommend drafting a guy under 4.7 speed. They're just going to be a little bit too slow, especially if you user with them. All these guys are below 4.7, so they're fine. Kirkland Favorite looks great. You cannot go wrong with any of these linebackers. And the slower guys makes more sense here in the 5th. Very technically sound, even if they're not incredible athletes. Right outside linebacker, same as we looked at before. You see someone with elite speed, like 4.62 off the edge. Tracy Fort's going to be incredible. I can't wait for you guys to see some of these overalls and find out as well Did any of these stats get upgraded? I don't think so, but you're looking at 4.35 speed is fantastic. 4.45 and below generally is what I'd look for. He's solid across the board. Deshaun Levine is great. Bernie Grissom, 4.47 speed, not bad, especially when he's so good everywhere else. Really agile, can jump, very strong. That's the thing about him. 18 reps is incredible. So he could have high block shed, but he's going to be very, very strong for a cornerback. High hit power, maybe in there as well, but good press, good awareness, good zone coverage. Really, really good player. The rest of the cornerbacks, not too good. I would take a guy with great speed here. Like, he has 4.34 speed, so he's worth taking, even though he's not great technically. And then at free safety, 4.5 speed and below is generally pretty good if they're a zone guy. If they're run support, they can be a bit slower. I probably wouldn't go below 4.5, but Von Buckley, 4.46, really good in the class. Tevin Bethel, 4.5. That's generally where you want to be. Some guys are going to be slower if they're run support, but for a strong safety, Ronald Cruz, 4.54 speed is pretty much fine. High bench press as well. He's going to be really strong. Already can hit like a monster. We know he's going to have a high zone because of his archetype. Jerron McDougal here, pretty slow. He's good technically, but I don't really think I could throw a safety out there as 5'10 with 4.65 speed. It's just going to be like mid to high 80s, which, I mean, if you want that, that's fine, but I'm going for guys who have 90 plus, and 4.46 is going to be near 90, you know, so that's pretty much where you want to be. And I'm sorry if you wanted to know the scouting report on kickers. Look for high kick power. That's all I can tell you. Let's go ahead and get into the draft and see how some of these players work out. The linebackers are going to be insane. There are going to be some beast quarterbacks, or one, I should say. Running backs were slightly underwhelming. Let's go ahead and see these overalls. So Von Buckley goes number 1 overall. He's a 78. That's going to be up near the top of the draft. You're very, very rarely going to see guys near 80 or above. So when you see 80 or above or 78, they're up near the very, very top of the class. And also, we'll trade for some of these picks so you guys can see the development as well. I think Von Buckley is going to be fantastic. Fantastic in terms of development because of his story that you guys saw in the news area. I know this is a long video, but there's a lot to talk about if you want to kind of master drafting. So I'm going to hold on to these picks and just trade, you know, whoever I can. So I did talk about earlier, obviously it helps to pick up near the top of the draft. That's where you're going to find your superstar X Factor players. I believe that Van Cleveland is going to be up near superstar X Factor, and great. I think Darren Shepard or Duran probably going to have superstar above just because of his news story. I believe the outside linebacker who had the story is going to have superstar development or higher. But let's go ahead and take the QB so you guys can see. Looks really, really good. I anticipate 75 overall or higher. Does have 73. A little bit of a spoiler alert. You guys can tell their development based on what they come out to. If they do arms up, superstar X Factor, one arm, superstar, arms crossed, star, and then nothing is normal, but you can see normal, so doesn't matter. But he's very good. Ranked at number 18, but he does have superstar X Factor. As you can see, I have a lisp now. 88 throw power. So that's what you're getting when you get A- or A sometimes. So just know that. It's not always going to be in the 90s, but you can develop that. We also hold this pick, as we'll take, just so we can see the development of a player like Duran Shepard, because we saw with the news stories, generally, that means they're going to have high development. Shepard does have hidden development. He comes up. He has superstar development because he has the one arm and a 73 overall. That's near the top end of the class. 90 speed, ranked at number 17. Not too bad, but again, you're paying for that development. Also traded up for number 4. Now, there are some really, really good players. Montre Clark is going to be incredible, I can promise you. We pick at number 6 as well, so I'll come back for Tracy Fort, who likely will still be available. I'll show you guys the overall of the entire class after this. Montre Clark's incredible. We talked about top 3 skills, had an incredible combine. He's going to be a beast. Montre Clark is a 77 overall, ranked number 2 in the class. Superstar development as well. Really, really good player. As you can see, 77 is the second best player in the entire class. So that's how it scales. Really, really good player. And superstar dev, I mean, you can't complain. George Carey ends up being a 74. Couldn't really recommend drafting him, although he does look pretty good. And then Tracy Fort should have high development. He has great top 3 skills for his position. Had an incredible combine. He should be fantastic. And he is 77 overall. Also superstar development. As you can tell, it's hidden, but we talked about the kind of the exploit at the moment. Hopefully they patch it. Honestly, I think it'd make it more fun. But 77 overall is elite. And as we saw in the news story, he essentially would have great development, and superstar is what it is. Next up, we pick in the second round. You guys can see some of the late round gems that we're going to be able to get. So there go back-to-back 64 overalls at the top of the second round. We're not going to be doing any of that, at least not right now. So Dallas Watt moves from, he's a third round guy, to showing second round in the draft. As I told you, these all change. They all change. So no longer can you see a 6th round guy where it shows he's actually first. It all defaults. So you got to remember, you got to write it down. Of course, I recommend writing it down usually. We saw Duke McFarland as first round when we were doing the scouting. He also looks great because he's got great top skills. Play rec's going to inflate his overall. Decent athlete, strong as well. He is a 75 overall, ranked at number 8 in the class. We took him at 38. Top 10 player in the second round, not bad. Only normal development. Kind of a crapshoot sometimes, but obviously a top 10 player in the class in the second round. Really can't complain. That's interesting. It glitched here where Shankar, who's a 7th round guy, is red, and it shows the 4th round. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But obviously we know there are some studs here. Rob Katz is one of them. It is the 3rd round, so I'll take a player who's closer. But some really, really good players available. Again, I told you guys the linebacker class was stacked. You can find some really good offensive linemen. We'll take one here in Josh Jackson, probably. We know, though, that Rob Katz is going to be great. I might just take him now. Just because we know he's going to be a beast. He's a 6th round player, late 6th. You don't have to take him now. I'm just going to do it to show you guys how good he's going to be. Number 50, we took him at 70. He would have been available at 150 easily. He's a 69 overall. Nice. And most offensive linemen are going to have normal development. Very rarely, even at the very top, will you see a higher development than that. But it does happen. Back to the draft board. It's your best friend after the top players go in the draft. And right now, the linebackers still stand out as some of the best players in this. We know Sean Carr is going to be pretty solid as well. Just his bench press is low, so it means his strength is going to be low, so I'm kind of out on that. Edward Spade, bench is low for an offensive lineman. Evan Bethel, like him, decent top 3 skills, decent combine, nothing crazy. We will see how good he is. I'll take a 67 and above. It's pretty good. 67 is on the nose. He's ranked at number 74. We took him at 102. Another very good pick. Back to the draft board. Sean Carr is still available. It is the 5th. We had 2 more picks. So we'll cap it off with Metcalf and then Carr. Metcalf is a little bit slow for my liking, but he is a run support with good pursuit, good tackle, good hit power. That's what you want. Not that strong, but he's going to be quick with his 3-cone 20-yard shuttle. Can jump with his broad jump. He's pretty good as well. Ranked at number 48 in the class. We took him at 134, so almost a plus 100 value. 69 overall. Nice. 86 speed, 69 zone coverage. Nice. Play rec. Nice. I have Tourette's. Not quite, but you guys remember Tourette's guy? Classic internet video. But or videos even. But we'll move on to the 6th round. It was a 63. Not a bad pick at this range, though. And our last player is gone. You ever want to shoot in the dark? You're never really going to get a good player. Almost ever. We'll check out guys that are scouted. Do I see anyone that looks even decent? Not really. Niles Glass could be okay as a run stopper. He's kind of slow, but he's strong. I might lean towards Floyd Tarrant here. Nah, C+ block shit's kind of bad. Let's go with Niles Glass. It's kind of a crapshoot at this point. He is garbage. That's why you really got to know everything about the player. Otherwise, you end up drafting a 58. But of course, we did really, really well in the draft. We had some top picks too, so I get it, but we still drafted well late. I'll show you guys the entire class overalls. So Von Buckley is fantastic. We can't see his development just yet, but I can assure you guys it's pretty good. Levine is a 79 overall. I guess Morale is taking him down. So he's going to be really, really good. Good man, good zone, but of course he had elite speed, so 95 speed is going to help his overall a lot. We saw that his play rec and awareness were really high, or at least play rec was. That's going to carry his overall, boost him up even more. He has 78 play rec. That's incredible. We got 2 of the top 5 players in the class. Akeem Burst was great. Duke McFarland, who we took, obviously. Parker Saunders was fantastic. Bernie Grissom was in there. JoJo Freeman in the 2nd round, the tight end, is really good as well. There's the player we talked about briefly, Davion Falk, who's not bad. 74. Went late in the 1st round. And then Shepard was just all right. Yeah, as I said, we only really took that for the development. I'll simulate to where you guys can see the actual development of the player. But, yeah, I mean, if you want development, go to the news. If you want the actual attributes and skill, you can draft by that. It's up to you. So, of course, now that we simulated a lot, you guys can see the development, how it pops up. Cleveland, of course, as we talked about, has Superstar X Factor. His ability is Pro Reads. Superstar X Factor is going to be very, very nice, and I love the red. Very nice to look at. Shepard, as we knew, had Superstar. We know all these already, but just refreshing your memory. Fort, Superstar. Clark, Superstar. So that's really how you draft more Superstars. You draft the talent, as Clark probably won a bunch of awards here. You draft the talent, and you follow the news stories, and you can get guys like that. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Looks very, very good. So we had a great draft class. Helps when you have higher picks, don't get me wrong. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.